Hey guys, you're watching Designing by Faith. My name is Dominique Galbraith. I'm a serial entrepreneur, best known for my clothing line, D'Auxilie, and I am committed to helping entrepreneurs achieve good success. So for today's episode, I want to talk about three things. It's going to get a little uncomfortable. Three types of mindsets that keep us from manifesting our dreams. Now, before you get offended with things I'm about to say, just know that it was for me first, right? These three things that I'm going to talk about are things that I wrestled through, things that God has delivered me from, and I have seen a great difference in how I do business, in success in business, because I overcame these three things by the power of God. So the first thing is insecurity. Insecurity. You see yourself less than, you don't recognize your own value, and so you conduct business accordingly. Now, one of the things that I did for years, I started out when I was 17. I was a young entrepreneur. I didn't know any other entrepreneurs. I just knew that I wanted to run a business. And I really, for years, underpriced my designs. I mean, terrible. And I struggled a great deal. I did, by the grace of God, make a good deal of money, but I also worked very, very, very hard. And so I ended up taking on way more work than I needed to because of insecurity. I believed that people weren't going to pay if I charged what I really needed to charge. A lot of times I didn't even assess how much I should charge. I just charged a rate that I thought people would pay. And it took me a while to figure out, girl, you are shooting yourself in the foot. So that comes from insecurity. That is the revelation that God gave me. Growing up without a father, it skews your vision in how you see yourself. When you grow up insecure, when you are insecure, when you're not secure within yourself. And so as I matured as a Christian and, continued my walk with Jesus, he started to reveal to me, you can't do this anymore. Not only are you underpricing, but this is why you do it. God revealed the root cause as to why I was handling my business this way. And so he gave me wisdom in that, right? I started to do a much more better and diligent job at working out the numbers, because thou shalt know thy numbers, right? Working out the numbers, identifying what I should charge. And because my clothing is on the luxury side, I know that, okay, I need to be at this price point and it is okay. And give you a brief testimony, I went from struggling to sell $200 dresses, $150 dresses, to selling $2,000 dresses, $4,000 dresses, right? When I transitioned from being a designer who just makes party dresses to a designer that makes wedding dresses and gowns for galas and very special occasions. And so that is what God revealed to me. And I know that many other women struggle with that insecurity. And we think it's just a personal thing. It's something that just plays out in our personal relationships. No, a lot of things that we deal with personally, it ends up affecting how we do business professionally, how we operate professionally. Another mindset that a lot of us women struggle with that is negatively impacting the way we do business is the fact that we are by nature nurturers. Look, you might be a mother. You don't have to mother your customers. You might be compassionate, but you gotta charge what you need to charge. You have a business to run. Okay? And the issue is that we take that nurturing side of us into business and say yes to things that we say no to. We don't put boundaries where we need to put boundaries because we let our compassion in where it does not need to be. when you identify what your price point should be, don't ever feel bad if someone says, oh, that's too high, or gives you the look like you shouldn't be charging that, or who are you to charge that, or they come to you with a sob story. You gonna have a sob story if you keep not charging what you need to charge and you got bills to pay. Con Edison don't want to hear your sob story. The bank don't want to hear your sob story. The bills are the bills. God has called us to be compassionate. He has also called us to be shrewd managers, wise stewards over what he has given us. When you undercharge, when you don't set boundaries in your business, when you don't set boundaries with people because you want to be too nice, because you want to be a nurturer, you are actually a lot of times sinning because you're not managing your business the way that you should. You're not doing the things that are necessary to sustain the business that God has blessed you with. So we have to be very careful in knowing when to be compassionate, when to be nice, right? When to give a discount and when to stand firm on our price, when to bless someone with a service or a product for free, and when to require that they pay you. It's God will lead you on that. But most of the time, 99% of the time, you need to get paid, and what you need to get paid needs to have a profit, right? Business is business, right? And God has called us to be wise stewards. There is a time and place for you to be nice, nurturing, and compassionate. And there's a time for you to be that businesswoman. Okay? So, and don't ever let anyone make you feel bad for doing what is necessary to sustain your business. You got yourself to feed and take care of. You got a family to feed, more than likely, right? And people that God has called you to bless through that business. So stand firm and know that, yes, God has called you to be compassionate. God has called you to be a giver, but he has also called you to wise stewardship. The third one, the victimhood mentality. Now, this is something that a lot of us Black people struggle with, right? And I want you to hear me very clearly. This is not to say that what has happened in the past in American history is just to be disregarded. It's not to say that there aren't still injustices today, right? However, we are at a greater disadvantage when we continue to operate from the standpoint of inferiority or victim. What you do is blind yourself. When you see yourself as a victim, you blind yourself to the opportunities around you. You blind yourself to the opportunities around you. When you put yourself or see yourself as a victim, you are actually hindering yourself. It's almost as if you've labeled yourself a handicap. You've handicapped yourself because now you're putting a limitation. Many people who think that they're helping, right, by constantly reminding us of our history and what we've been through and even some of the things that are happening now. Again, it's not to say that, those things are just water under a bridge, or it's not to completely disregard our history. But if we're rehearsing the past and going over the past and identifying ourselves with the past more than we are focused on the future, what the future could look like, what we can do with what we have, who we are, and who God says we are. Jesus said, we're more than conquerors. We have to pick one. We can't have both. We can't have who the world says we are or who we think we are and what Jesus says we are. We have to pick one. And so If you want to break the limits off, if you want to have the power or walk in the power to overcome every limitation that this society has put on you, then don't put a limitation on yourself by calling yourself a victim. I just want to encourage you in that. It's not to disregard your history. It's not to downplay what your family members, your ancestors has gone through, but I am pretty sure that your ancestors would want you to make the most out of your present day opportunities. I hope that helped you, right? Again, everything that I mentioned are things that I have gone through, things that I have experienced, things that God has delivered me from, and I've seen results. I've seen great results as I transitioned from holding on to those mindsets and habits and just believing what God says I am and what He says I can do. And so I pray that that blessed you. Listen, entrepreneurship is great. Making money is great. Being that generational builder is great. We cannot do those things unless we deal with our mindset, how we see ourselves, how we operate, how we think, how we do things. All of those personal habits and mindsets, they impact how you do business. So if we want to achieve good success, it starts here. It starts with acknowledging God, submitting to God, walking with God, trusting God. So I pray that that blessed you. Until next time. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, share. You know the things, do the things. If you didn't do the things already. Okay?